some foul trouble. I say late into the night. I apologize. Like, I'm older, all right? 10:30, 11 o'clock is late into the night. When I'm still up to see the very end of the Monday night football game, I feel like we've hit late into the night territory. But maybe not for all of you. I shouldn't have said late into the night. But yeah, we'll let you hear what he had to say from last night's ball game, in which you get 13 points and 6 rebounds from Colin Murray-Boyles, but he fouls out again. I think that's an interesting statistic. We've now seen 2 of those from him. Jamari Thomas, 11 points last night. On the night, he grabbed 6 rebounds. The night that South Carolina watches itself get out-rebounded by 10, 41-31 on the boards last night, and Jamari Thomas was the best rebounding guard, actually tied for the team lead in rebounds last night. Jacoby Wright poured in 10 points as well. Gamecocks, I would say this is a bad stat, but they were equal to Xavier, to the Musketeers. South Carolina was 4 of 17 from three-point range.
Yeah, if you're just looking at – I did not watch the game, but I'm just looking at the stat book. This plays out as a very ugly game.
Yeah, it was
40% shooting for both squads, 20% from the three-pointer. It looked like there were a lot of bricks being thrown in this game, which is fine. You know me, I'm all for a defensive struggle, and I don't actually think Lamont minds a lower scoring affair.
No, he doesn't. That's what he prefers.
He's not opposed to it. But then obviously when you're throwing up those bricks, you got to get the rebounds, and they absolutely struggled on that.
34 fouls in total last night, 19 against the Gamecocks, 15 against the Musketeers. It was kind of a choppy game from that standpoint. Both teams combined actually to shoot 41 free throws. Both teams pretty solid from the line, actually.
Which is an interesting thing.
15 of 21 for the Musketeers, 16 of 20 for the Gamecocks. Again, Murray-Boyles with 5 of 7 from the foul line. Thomas, 4 of 6 from the foul line. But, Preston, the question I think rises this morning about this basketball team, and you kind of ask, all right, where are they heading this early in the season? You don't want to get too far behind the 8 ball in terms of giving yourself a chance to be on the bubble, giving yourself an opportunity to be kind of in there. I don't want to say they're out of it just yet, but you now have 3 losses. One of them is going to end up being a bad loss when it's all said and done.
Wait, the Ospreys are not balling up?
Well, it's not.
Are they not going to win the Metro Division North?
The Atlantic Sun?
Yeah.
Well, who knows? Let them get to conference play. Let them get to conference play. Who knows? Maybe they really get things going in conference play. Listen, they're 4-2.
See?
They just knocked off Edward Waters.
A very low-level HBCU. Shout out to Edward Waters, but yes.
Unfortunately, the Ospreys, they lost to Georgia and then dropped another one to UNC Asheville. So that one's turning the corner back about what we expected. Right. But the bottom line is that's probably not going to end up being a loss that you try and hide that one under the rug, under the couch when it's all said and done. But I guess my point on this is at what point do you feel like you've gotten too far behind the 8 ball? I feel like we saw that for a long time with some of Frank Martin's teams, Preston, where they would just put themselves too far behind the 8 ball with losses in non-conference play. Now, Indiana and, again, Xavier are not bad losses, but you do need to rack up a victory against someone here to kind of have and point at and say, all right, we do at least have this one.
Yeah, well, you got to get – I guess the question is, you asked it, where are they going?
Yeah.
What's the trajectory? Do they seem like they're putting things in place? Does it seem like they're improving on the system? Are they still struggling with some very basic things? Again, this is not something – if you are not going to be a team that can consistently hit the 3 or that can consistently make shots, you better rebound. And they're not doing this. This has been – 2 out of 4 games which they've been out-rebounded, and that's not a recipe for success for a team with the limitations that they seem to have right now.
So we'll get more into that coming up this morning.
Fart.
We've got our Preston's fart analytics.
Hasn't been wrong yet. I'm just telling you.
Yeah. All right. We'll let that. Sides and farts. Well, very mature program we have here going. A very upscale, mature program.
Oh, don't worry. We're going to be making fun of Dabo, too.
And we'll do that, yes.
So if you was tuning in for the maturity, go somewhere else this morning.
Be well aware. No maturity on this program whatsoever. 803-404-6100. So we'll get more into that game this morning. We'll talk a little rosters this hour, a roster composition, in-state versus out-of-state, and what Preston, being a former in-state high school prospect, now just a in-state alumni. But we'll get into his thoughts and feelings on that. And then coming up, we got a couple of different guests who will join us this morning. Your good buddy, you're one of your, I guess, other practice dummies. Is that right?
Kind of, yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Maybe not go against Nan Goddard quite as much as you did John Strickland.
Not as much as Strick. Me and Strick were every single day for 5 years. We were married to each other. But, Nashawn played various – he was more skilled. He was the guy out on the tackles on the edges. He's one of those pretty guys for the offensive linemen. So, but yes.
He's going to join us, South Carolina State offensive line coach Nan Goddard. We'll talk a little bit about the Bulldogs. We'll talk a little bit about his thoughts on the South Carolina Clemson game. We'll get some of his thoughts on sides as well. He's a big fella.
I'm not sure where he's going to be the most expert analysis on this. I'm really looking forward to it.
So he'll join us from about 7 to 7:30, and then JC Sherbet will hop on from about 7:35 to 7:55 this morning, and we'll get some thoughts from him. So a lot to get to this morning. Again, if you want to be a part of the program, which it appears several of y'all do, John, I look at Turkeys as the starting left tackle. Ham is the starting right tackle. Dressing is the quarterback if the person making it is a pro. Rest of the sides are skill players. Happy Thanksgiving. Cox by 90 on Saturday. John.
You get the show. Appreciate you, John. You're in there.
Another texter weighs in. You are correct, Preston. It's just there because it has to be. It sticks around like the honorary starter.
Yeah, I just feel like, we honor Turkey. You've been here. You've been loyal. We appreciate you. But there's some other people that can push for playing time.
Yeah, and I would say that they're actually ready for a bowl game after, like the Turkey is, because it's like you really, I don't know, you don't necessarily want them now, but they really can serve you for additional.
You mean, I see what you're going with.
I like where you're going with
this. Put them in casseroles and things like that. Yeah. So
I like where you're going.
They got some postseason run.
I feel like there's y'all's take on it with Turkey, and then there's this one. Text always, and I would like to consider my smoked turkey a Kyle Kennard.
Ooh.
And I feel like that's what you're going for. You're going, when you do this, turkey may come out right, it may come out, but you're really going, if you miss on it, you're just like, well, we'll give it another shot next year. But if you hit a home run, if you've got the slam dunk, if you've got the long touchdown pass of a turkey, let me tell you, I feel like you walk around for a good week, maybe all the way up to Christmas with your chest poked out, feeling very proud, going, you like that turkey, didn't you? You like that. You like that.
And you know what? If you nail the turkey, people are like,
yeah.
Look at this.
You get a little bit more of a reputation.
You do. That's a good point there.
There you go. 803-404-6100. Send in the Texas. Let's go out to the phone lines. Gamecock Larry wants to weigh in this morning. Gamecock Larry, you ever smoke or fry a turkey?
I'll tell you what. I never cooked. I had no cook. I'm an old working man. I worked all my life. But let me tell you, this is supposed to be trash talking time. But old Gamecock, I got to go out to the VA this morning, so I ain't going to be able, I don't think, to talk too much trash talk. But let me tell you, Dabo, I want to say one thing to you. Dabo, this ain't the guy from Spartanburg. This is Gamecock Larry from Swansea, South Carolina. And this may be the last I get to 7, Clemson 24. 37-24. Bill, write it down, take it to the bank. 37-24 Gamecocks. And I'm hoping I get a good report. I hope it don't keep me. But if you do, they do. But I'll talk to you later. Hope you all have a great Thanksgiving. Love all y'all. Go Gamecocks. Talk to you later.
There you go, buddy. Hope you get a good report today as well. And you have a great Thanksgiving with the family. 37-24 sounds very realistic, Preston Thorne. I can't say that Gamecock Larry's predictions always seem realistic. I think he did come a lot closer, though, on the Texas A&M prediction, if we remember correctly. I believe it was Texas A&M, than a lot of people. And so, 30?
He did well this past week.
Did he?
Yeah,
48-7 is, I think, what you... 48-10?
10? Yeah, I think like 48-10. So, yeah, he was pretty close.
He wasn't. He's having a strong year with his predictions.
I wrote down all the kid predictions, but I didn't star Gamecock Larry's predictions, so I don't know which one is which. In
I got it, Jen. He actually didn't come on air and give it last week. But
I actually texted it to you.
48 to 10. That was it. I got it. I did.
Okay.
Look at you, Preston, for taking notes. 48 to 10.
Look at
Gamecock
that.
Larry.
Good job. Yep, there we go. So yeah, we got his prediction locked in 37-24, which I don't know what I'm going to do with it at the bank, but we'll figure that out. We'll get into some sides. We'll get into some Dabo. Yeah, that's right. We'll make fun of Dabo Sweeney when we come back. You're listening to the early game.
It's Jen for CHW Cabinetry in Lexington. We had that demolition we had to do in the kitchen when it all got flooded out, had to gut the entire kitchen. And I'm telling you what, I was not in the mood to go figure out what cabinets we needed. But man, CHW Cabinetry made it so much easier. They helped us figure out what we needed and the layout and everything. And the photorealistic rendering of our finished kitchen was so helpful in getting everything else pulled together. But kitchens is not all they do. They can replace cabinetry in bathrooms. We've had them help us out with that with a bathroom upstairs, and now with a recent redo in our master bath. They also have things that they can do to make your closets more functional. Get rid of those wire hanging racks if you don't like those. Put in some drawers in your closet. Maybe update your pantry in the kitchen. So much more. CHWCabinetry.com is the place to go, or call them at 803-520-6837. Be sure to tell them Jen Jensen sent you. CHW Cabinetry, passion from inspiration to installation. It's looking pretty good out on the highways this morning right now. We aren't seeing any accidents, and that's wonderful news. Want to keep it a nice Tuesday morning. Could see just a couple pop-up showers. 70 for the high today. 66 tomorrow. Maybe some thunderstorms early in the day on Thanksgiving. And a high of 72. Looks like the middle part of the day, the rain might taper off a little bit. And then in the later afternoon, could see a little bit more rain again. And then we drop into the 50s for the weekend. But right now, we're sitting at 59, a little bit of a jump from yesterday on the early game.
Problem is the appreciation. I used to tell people all the time, they'd say, what's the difference in Clemson? I'm going to tell you, at some places there's an expectation, but at Clemson there's an appreciation. And what's happened at Clemson is we've won so much that even when it used to be the fun's in the winning, now even when you win, people like you complain and criticize the coaches and question everything. People like you, all right?
Where's that baby crying sound effect?
We cut it off before Tyler.
Oh, no, Bill. We got that. That's a separate clip.
Oh, okay.
Because that was a whole minute and a half later in the rant, which was a 6-minute rant only last year, if we don't remember. And that's why Dabo just said that about the whole expectation versus appreciation thing. That's why, sir, this is the biggest game of your career.
Of Dabo's?
Dabo's career.
I think that's a very as much as we might
Saturday.
As much as
biggest game of your career, sir.
I can't argue with that. As much as we tend to get a little dramatic around here and a little overhype.
Hyperbole. But this is not.
I actually think that that's legitimate because there's going to be Clemson fans who are watching their recruiting right now, which is, I don't want to say tanking. That's not really fair. But at the same time, it's not performing at what they are accustomed to it performing. Dabo's, it's not inability because he has the ability to adjust to the college world as it is today with transfers and NILs. But his unwillingness, I think, is the right word.
Stubbornness.
Arrogance. And quite frankly,
find some other word.
Quite frankly, yeah, if you look here right now and you see where these two programs are heading, I don't want to a certain radio announcer once said one team was cycling in and one team was cycling out. I don't want to be that person. I don't need my voice constantly put out over the airwaves for the next 368 days, 369 days, should something go wrong on Saturday. But there is a feeling that is this two ships passing in the night in opposite directions, if you will.
Well, here's the deal. Dabo's absolutely right. They've done a ton of winning, and he's done a ton of winning. I looked it up. I had to remind myself. From 2011 to 2022, they had 12 straight 10-win seasons. Obviously, we would kill for that year. No doubt about that. But I also say that that's the past. And the streak was broken last year. And those people up there in the upstate, they're not happy. They're winning games, but nobody who wears orange breeches, why would you do that, is happy. They're not even content. Most of them are disgruntled because they're spoiled. Dabo's correct. He did spoil them. And when we talked about the expectation versus appreciation, nobody there appreciates that they got themselves in a position to possibly get to the ACC championship, maybe get to the college football playoffs. They think way more of themselves than what that is now. And that's why I am, if I was to take a pie chart, I am 20% joking, 80% serious that this game could be the domino, the big domino that falls and breaks Clemson. If we go up there, beat Clemson in Clemson, middle of the day, knock them out of the CFP, this could be a tragedy up there. And I'm all here for it.
Give me a second. I want to confirm what I think I know to be true. You want me to really set you up. Give me just a second and let me confirm what I believe to know to be true. I know that sounds a little bit, but.
Well, while we're giving you a second, let's hear the infamous one. Jen, this is number 9. This is where we can hear the infamous part of the Dabo rant.
No, I'm far from it. I am a man of faith. Absolutely. All right? I'm 53 years old, and there ain't one thing in my life. I have been a part of failure many times, but there ain't one thing in my life that I've ever failed at, Tyler. Never.
Do you, just FYI, you bring up a good point about this game, about the importance of this game. Not for the sake of Clemson having winning seasons or getting to bowls, but for the direction of the program. Because as I look at this, if South Carolina beats them, Clemson will then turn to look at Miami and Syracuse, and Clemson could still conceivably get into the ACC championship game, which could lead them into the college football playoff. But you play South Carolina, you lose. Let's just say you go to a bowl game. You're going to go to an upper scale bowl game and you lose, whatever that means. Do you know who they open with next year? Oh, it's one of your favorite coaches, the family man, Brian Kelly.
Okay.
And LSU. You want to circle a game? You want to circle a game for loser leaves town?
Early hot
Loser does not coach Tigers anymore?
Oh, right on the Tiger. Okay, I like it.
That game will be at Memorial Stadium.
Which is
Clemson's Memorial Stadium.
When you talk about what this game is, this is a huge opportunity for Shane Beamer and the Gamecocks. Huge opportunity to turn the tide, to finish the job, to put a bow on what could be a really special season for them. And so when you go into a game like this, one team has opportunity. The other program, they're defending something. They're trying to grasp at, if we win this game, we can keep something. I would not want to be in Clemson's position right now because, like I said, granted, they've had a lot of success. They've been tremendously successful up to this point. And now those people up there are starting to sour. They're getting bored, just like everything else. People get bored with success. And they've been tremendously successful up there. And if they let little old Shane Beamer and the little old Gamecocks from the city go up there and beat them in that game, you watch the Tiger tears that will fall.
I told somebody this yesterday, and I didn't know when I was going to bring it up this week, but I remember in 2013, South Carolina beat Clemson at home. South Carolina was number 10. Clemson was number 6 that day. Clemson ended up 10-2. South Carolina got their 10th win that day. And in that game, Clemson outgained South Carolina 352 to 318. And I remember Clemson really kind of dominating that game. But Clemson had 6 turnovers that night. They lost the game 31-17. Clemson had it tied at the end of the third quarter. The Gamecocks scored 2 fourth-quarter touchdowns. I believe one of them was the Brandon Wilds jump pass to Pharaoh Cooper. But I remember that night feeling like South Carolina won the game because Clemson made a lot of mistakes. Not that South Carolina went out and won the game, if you will.
Right.
I feel like that might have been last year in reverse. Clemson won the game 16-7, but they did it because South Carolina's mistakes, where I felt like South Carolina and Dowlaga that night.
What a stinker.
South Carolina couldn't get out. That night in 2013, Clemson couldn't get out of their own way. Last year, it felt like South Carolina could not get out of its own way to get into that game and win it. And then the following year, we saw what happened with Deshaun Watson, a freshman, at Memorial Stadium. Now you got Lenore Sellers going in there in a very similar redshirt freshman to freshman, if we want to really break down and drill into it. But Clemson had hope with Deshaun Watson going into 2014, whereas South Carolina, again, they were coming on a season that wasn't up to Steve Spurrier's standards. Dylan Thompson was a good quarterback, but just kind of couldn't get them over the hump. You got Cade Klubnik. You got Lenore Sellers. Similarities,
all I'm saying is, for as much bluster and orange britches as they wear, they're very fragile right now. That program is in a fragile state. Yes, they're winning 9 games. Yes, they are fragile. And all it's going to take is one little 6-inch punch to the chest, and they will crumble.
803-404-6100. Don't worry. We're going to continue to make fun of Dabo Swinney. We got plenty of time to do it.
Yes.
You're listening to the early game.
Preston here. Let me tell you about our friends at Integrated Media. We've been trying to tell you all year, spring, summer, fall, Thanksgiving. When are you going to call the folks at Integrated Media to get your outdoor setup ready? It's past time. You can get Samsung Terrace TVs that are waterproof. You can get Sonos outdoor speakers for TV and music. Or you can get Wi-Fi that works indoors and outdoors. All these things you can have set up ready to enjoy the big games, whether that's the CFP, the Super Bowl, all the things that will be happening, you can get it set up with Integrated Media. So from home theater setup to adjusting your thermostat or monitoring security systems from your cell phone, Integrated Media is the company that you need to call. So call Nathan and Michael at 803-948-8327. That's 803-948-8327. Or you can reach them online at integratedmediainc.com. That's online at integratedmediainc.com.
Things still looking good. Maybe a few less people on the highways this morning, but no accidents that we are seeing currently. If that changes, be sure to let us know. And that forecast, we're looking for a high today of 70. Could see just a few morning showers. 66 tomorrow with a mix of clouds and sun. Maybe a couple thunderstorms, actually, on Thanksgiving Day. 72 for the high. It's not going to be a washout, just some scattered activity as far as precipitation is concerned. Come Friday, 58 for the high, and then we're in the mid-50s for the remainder of the weekend, and actually a little bit cooler than that to start next week. We won't even talk about overnight lows being in the 20s quite yet. But right now it's great. 59 on 107.5 The Game.
Always has been, always will be, Clemson. And it's right here in Clemson, South Carolina. So,
the words of old Dabo Swinney, who this week, do you think he overtakes Eli Drinkwitz as the most disliked South Carolina villain this week, or do we keep Eli Drinkwitz? Because, by the way, did you two see what Eli Drinkwitz did on Saturday that just, like, fortified who Eli Drinkwitz? And you know what's sad? I kind of agreed with what he did.
That's why you got to throw him in the water when you get a chance. Toss him in the drink, because you don't let that type of person get anything up on you, because he will do what he did. If you're not referenced, if you don't see it, he had some choice words for Mississippi State and was continuing to score the ball. And he told them that he would continue to score the ball.
To break it down, Missouri was, I guess, what were they, the 3 at the 5, something like that. They're down there and they're taking a knee. They're doing something very anti Eli Drinkwitz to begin with, which is showing humility and running out the clock, taking a knee. And Preston, you've been there. You know, Missouri was up, I believe it was 19. I think it was 39-20. And I guess the unwritten code is, hey, I'm going to take a knee.
Right.
You stand up. You put your hands on my shoulders. I'll put my hands on your chest. But you don't push and I don't push. And we just acknowledge that this is the end of the game. Mississippi State did not follow through on that acknowledgement, and there was some pushing and shoving. And if you didn't see what Drinkwitz did, he went running down the sideline. And because we're in the 6 o'clock hour, I can kind of paraphrase, but basically yelled at Mississippi State to stop it, and he used a specific word that we're not allowed to use.
Puppy?
He told them, I forget exactly how the order of the words went, but if they didn't stop it, they were going to puppy score another touchdown on them to make it worse and run up the score, is basically what he said, Preston. And I kind of agreed with him. Also thought, wow, that's just let it go.
Yeah, I get it. I'm not mad at it, but go tell that to the coach. Don't talk to the players.
Right, exactly. Yeah. He yelled it across the field. Well, he yelled it all the way down to the goal line.
Yeah, go. You're gonna have a chance to shake his hand after the game. Tell him like a man to his face. Don't tell that to the players where they can't do anything to you and you're not playing either. So no, I get it. I hear what you're doing, Eli. But
they took the final knee at the 3. They had it all the way down to the 1-yard line.
You're just mad because you got getting up out of the Broad River, so whatever.
So, yeah. But does Dabo Swinney overtake Eli Drinkwitz there for biggest villain? Probably so. No
for
reason
a week at least.
For a week. Roster composition. Preston, you've done a little analytics on this, in-state versus out-of-state?
I've looked at this as all things have come through the great X machine, and I'm going to cite my source on this, and this is perfect for 2024. According to Poster at EMOHNO95.
Okay, of course.
So we want to make sure we give our credit for EMOHNO95. The Gamecocks have more players from the state of South Carolina in their starting lineup than Clemson has on scholarship, period. So there's more players from South Carolina who start for the good guys than for Clemson. So when Dabo gets on there and he talks about the school in this state is South Carolina, is it really? Because they no longer, once they won their national championships, they got big time, they don't recruit this state anymore. They get some players, but an overwhelming majority of the players, and Bill, I want to take this opportunity to pat myself on the back.
Of course.
Because 8 years ago, as Clemson won their national championship, I did an interview, and I got hounded for this. But I stated that everyone can't go to Clemson. And so now we're going to be able to find, for South Carolina, is going to be able to find some recruiting gold in the state because Clemson was recruiting at a national level. They were only taking 5-star guys. This is what they were doing, and kudos to them. But what I knew there was going to be was a lot of people in South Carolina who were going to be able to, maybe even if they wanted to go over to Clemson, Clemson was just going to be full. And we were going to get a lot of inswell of in-state talent. And I think once we got Muschamp out the way, I think we finally
he accomplished it.
He did it. We're starting to see the fruits of that. And you see from the starting lineups that if you're a person that's cheering for the state of South Carolina, then you're cheering for the flagship university because that's where all the players are from currently in this game. So the roster breaks it down. And when you hear the starting lineups be called out, you have O.D. Fortune, Judge Collier, Nick Emenwari, DQ Smith, TJ, Tonka, Alex, Lenoris, Mazio, Josh, Josiah. All of these players are from South Carolina, and those are guys that are starting. Whereas the players from Clemson, where are they from? So if you're cheering for the state, there's one clear good guy team to cheer for. That's all I'm saying.
So if you've moved here and you're just pulling for the state alone, yes.
Pulling for the state of South Carolina, then obviously you would cheer for the team with more players from the state, right?
Yeah.
Seems logical to me. That's all I'm saying.
It did open the door for some kind of under-the-radar guys. I say under-the-radar guys. I wouldn't call Shi Smith and Brian Edwards, but it opened the door for South Carolina to pick up 2 great receivers because of what Clemson was doing. And it opened the door for South Carolina to continue to pursue Lenoris Sellers. It has opened the door for guys like Nick Emenwari and DQ Smith for South Carolina to land them. But I'm interested from a coaching perspective, Preston, from having coached high school ball, when you ignore, which is what Clemson did, not the top, not the elite talent, but kind of that mid-tier. Brian Edwards, again, was a highly thought-of recruit. Again, you talk about a guy like Shi Smith. Those are the 2 really that come to mind instantly because they were big four-star receivers that probably if Clemson had really pushed for, even though Shi was playing for Steve Tannehill, maybe they were able to land definitely with Brian Edwards. Or Trey Smith was another one. I know Ortrey didn't necessarily work out like South Carolina wanted it to. But to go back, what it does to those relationships in state.
To carry on Joyner, Luke Doty, those guys are along those lines. 4-star guys who may have slightly been on the fringe of Clemson's recruiting because they were recruiting at such a high level because of their success, as we stated. But what happens when you have to come back around in the state and people are not used to seeing you anymore because you've been recruiting the 5-star kid out of California or the other 5-star kid from Michigan or wherever the case is. You've been getting a lot of the best players. Congratulations, but have you been solidifying a base within this state? And credit to Shane Beamer and staff and Will Muschamp a little bit, but they've gone back and started to solidify the recruiting base in the state. And sooner or later, you're going to have guys, maybe you're recruiting 3 and 4 stars, but then all of a sudden there will be 5-star guys in South Carolina, and you might have the inroads with them.
They do. Clemson does technically have the number 1 player in the state, according to 24/7 Sports. Amir Adams, the defensive lineman from South Florence, committed to them for this cycle. Going back, 24/7 Sports, they are ranking their recruiting ranking now has Clemson at 30th nationally. 30th nationally. This is according to 24/7 Sports. Now the Tigers are way down. This is what I find interesting. Way down the list in terms of commitments. They have 13 commitments compared to a lot of schools who are in the 20s. South Carolina has 21 commitments. It should be noted Missouri has just 15 commitments, but they are 20th. So if you want kind of an apples-to-apples type comparison, Florida is 18th with 18 commitments, 5 more than the Tigers. But it goes to show you right now, Clemson, that recruiting 13 players, and if you're not taking transfer portals players, and I know Dabo says they're limited on scholarships right now, but you got to imagine there's going to be some attrition after the year as well through Clemson's side of the transfer portal. We'll come back. We'll wrap everything up. For hour number 1. The sides discussion will break out. What do you got? Overrated or underrated? And I'll get to some of these text messages as well. You're listening to The Early Game.
potatoes, tomatoes, lamb, rams, hogs, dogs, chicken, turkeys, rabbit, you name it. Look. I got beans, greens, potatoes, tomatoes, lamb, rams, hogs, dogs, beans, greens, potatoes, tomatoes, chicken, turkeys, rabbit, you name it. Beans, greens, potatoes, tomatoes, beans, greens, potatoes, tomatoes, beans, greens, beans, greens, beans, 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 greens, potatoes, tomatoes,
Right,
chicken,
y'all.
turkeys,
It's time.
the
annual Sides conversation. Welcome back into the early game. Preston Thorne, Bill Gunner, Jen Jensen. And yesterday we talked turkey, but today we're talking the real stars of the show. Sides.
That is true.
803-404-6100. We're going to go with the real simple today.
I might have a very. I'm thinking, and I might have a very big hot take for you about what might be the most important side at Thanksgiving.
I like where you're going with this. We're going to go very simple. You can go underrated, overrated, sides edition. In your opinion, what side/sides are overrated? What sides are underrated? Really simple. Do think this has potential to cause a little bit of controversy, though.
So overrated, underrated. Just send in your side that you think is wildly overrated, wildly underrated.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going to ask right now. Anybody here
Oh, dear Lord.
is it giblet?
Giblet gravy? Giblet
Actually,
dressing?
a dressing. If anybody here eats it, let me know, because apparently the mother-in-law is here and she's making it for herself. None of us eat it. So I'm happy to get this out of the house. So if I can donate it to anyone so I don't even have to look at it.
Wait, you're already against it? Have you had it?
I haven't, but
So you're just writing it off
I'm totally
at 6:51 on a Tuesday morning.
155%.
Kick it to the moon.
She went and already got them, and it's in I even relegated it to a different refrigerator.
There you go.
Get them out.
So it will be in Jen's mailbox if you want to swing by. And then Jen's going to find the puppy dog she knows that she loves the most and smear a little on his lips. Be like, I don't know, Piper got into it. I can't.
Nabbit.
Sorry, bad Piper. Here's a treat, Piper. Bad
Overrated, underrated, sides edition. Send them in 803-404-6100. We talked turkey ham, third string meat yesterday. We want to go big on the sides today because I feel like this is where the real plates are made. It's in the sides.
Because really, you only get, at least for me, it's just a little bit of meat, and then I want the sides. That's where
this is where
my meat.
This is where real teams, real players, real GMs of their plates on Thanksgiving, the teams are really made on the sides.
Noodles.
Bill, are you ready to do this?
Let me make a declaration that I think is I haven't seen it anywhere, so I think I'm about to put something out there that could be very number one. It was just say it's wildly underrated.
We have 2 more hours worth of show left.
Wildly underrated, and probably is the most important side at the Thanksgiving table because of its versatility.
The MIP.
Gravy. Now, you can go with so many different gravy. I'm just going to say gravy, whatever you want to, because gravy can go on your casserole, it can go on the mashed potatoes, it can go on the rice, it can go on a biscuit.
It can go on the dressing.
It can go on the dressing. If you have messed up the gravy, you have darn near ruined Thanksgiving.
So you're saying gravy's
wildly underrated. Wildly underrated.
Take it for granted even.
Yes.
Because we just see it everywhere. It's like, oh, there's the gravy. But you're saying that if you mess up the gravy,
you've almost ruined Thanksgiving.
You can mess up the turkey.
And if the gravy's good, it can offset. You can mess up the mashed potatoes.
Because you need to be able to drown out the yucky turkey with the dressing. This is probably one time I will agree with Bill.
Yeah, I and thinking about this, if you mess up the gravy, you might have actually ruined Thanksgiving.
Whew, that's
because let me go. Darby right here goes with overrated mashed potatoes. Maybe so, but if you put the right gravy on it, he goes underrated yams. Great. Now I got to try and keep up with all these text messages coming in.
Bring them in.
Let's see if I can get to some of these. Zach goes with overrated. That cranberry stuff, underrated. Dressing slopped in giblet gravy. Is it giblet or giblet?
Giblet.
Giblet.
You Jay.
GIF.
I might have to go and look and see how it's spelled just because I'm reading Giblet, Giblet. Another texter weighs in: cranberry sauce overrated, green bean casserole underrated. Mike goes with, and this I think is a very controversial because I feel like there's no mid ground on this. You're either for or you're very against. And I'm very against, and I think you two are very pro. Deviled eggs.
We didn't do that up north. Like, my daughter's now all into it. To me, it's a Southern thing, but I'm okay with it.
I'm pro, but I'm more this. I think this is the hot take that got me to the big times, Bill.
This is the
one where I said that 4th of July food is better than Thanksgiving food. Mm-hmm. That's the one that got me here, Bill. That's the hot take that propelled me to the morning show, and I'll stand by that. And that's why I put deviled eggs towards the 4th of July, more of a summer thing, but not underrated at all.
No.
So overrated, underrated, sides edition. This is where you can barely build. We need to see who you really are.
Try and get to a lot of these. You guys are doing good. Hour 2 on the way. Bill Goddard for Love Chevrolet, I-26 in Harbison, between Lowe's and Frankie's Fun Park, where it's that time of the year. Love Chevrolet is thankful for everyone that has been ready to come and visit their 14 acres, their beautiful lot, where they have so many great vehicles and are ready to take care of you since 1961. They've been taking care of families right here in the Midlands, generation after generation. It's because of the folks that love Chevrolet and how they treat their customers, and they want to continue to thank you for allowing them to serve you for your car, truck, or SUV needs. So get out to Love Chevrolet today, home of the $1,000 low price guarantee, where you can shop other dealerships, take their deal back to the folks that love Chevrolet, and they will top it. 14 acres of brand new Chevys, and of course that incredible sales staff, so friendly, so kind, ready to walk you around that lot and find that next great vehicle that you have been wanting. So get out to Love Chevrolet today, and together, let's drive.
Little less traffic out there means a little less as far as accidents are concerned. Not seeing that, not really seeing any big slowdowns. A couple morning showers could pop up today, 70 for the high, 66 tomorrow, and 72 for Thanksgiving. Might even see a couple thunderstorms. Doesn't appear that it's going to be a washout, but just chances for some rain and some thunderstorms. off and on throughout the day. By Friday, we hit 58, and we stay in the mid-50s to get us through the weekend before, oh, goodness. By Sunday, it'll be 55. That overnight low will be 28. So we got some cooler temperatures on the way. So let's enjoy this week. It's 59 currently on the early game.
Oh, the text line has lit up. People they might be storming down here to 1301 Gervais Street to stand outside the window with their signs, much like what is the morning show, the Today Show that comes on where people stand behind them and they have their signs.
They got to stand in protest?
Stand in protest. People are fired up. Text away.
They want to stand outside with their sides.
There you go.
We could have, an edible debate.
Just set up a big table outside. Yeah, just the overrated, underrated takeaways. And stuffing, overrated by far. Corn, underrated. Zach goes with overrated, the cranberry stuff. I've already read that one. Sorry. We got so many in. Harry goes with cranberry and dressing, overrated. Mashed potatoes and gravy, underrated. Ronnie, green bean casserole, underrated. Dressing, overrated, about like Clemson. Go Cox. Todd weighs in. Wild boar bacon stuffing. Family favorite from Texas side of my family.
Okay.
How about that? Wild boar bacon. I wanted to go back. Wow. Somebody else sent us one yesterday about turkey and candied bacon, and might have to go back and see if I can find that. A couple more. Danny weighs in. Overrated. Stuffing and dressing. Underrated. Sweet potato casserole. Richard goes with overrated. Dressing. I've never eaten it. We can't say, wait a minute. It can't be overrated if you've never eaten it. Underrated. Collard greens. I don't want Thanksgiving if I can't have good greens. Mm-hmm. Keep them coming. 803-404-6100. Again, last night, South Carolina falls to Xavier. The Gamecocks had a halftime lead there. 34-29. Xavier outscores the Gamecocks handily in the second half, pulls away in that ball game for the victory there. And the Gamecocks will now play at 6 o'clock tomorrow night against Virginia Tech. So put that on your calendar. We'll talk more about that basketball coming up in the 8 o'clock hour. But right now, Preston, you got a special guest, a guy who's a champion.
Outback Bowl champion, two-time Super Bowl champion, two-time MEAC champion, soon to be two-time Celebration Bowl champion. Maybe. Ooh. We'll see. Freshest man on earth, father, husband, dirtbag himself. Nan Goddard, what's up, my boy?
Yeah, man. I appreciate that introduction, man. You make me feel like you got your Steve Harvey going on right there, man.
Man, welcome into the show. We got a lot of things. Hopefully, we'll have you. I feel like you're on your way. You making that commute down to the Berg? Is that correct, sir?
Absolutely. I'm headed to Orangeburg, so you got me for a good 35 minutes right now. I'm happy to be with you, bro.
Awesome. Well, we'll take advantage of it. So before we get into the football stuff, let's get to the important things. We're having a conversation about Thanksgiving sides. And I know you're a veteran on this front. And so first and foremost, yesterday we talked about turkey and ham, but we had a third meat. If you had to have a third meat at Thanksgiving, what would your third meat be?
Oh, man, some sort of chicken.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Because turkey's a little different, right? Mm-hmm. A little different texture. Ham is obviously the icing on the cake, but you get some good glazed honey ham. But, I mean, some people, man, you got to have that chicken in there still, man. Mm-hmm. I think chicken is always a winner. Some sort of deep-fried chicken. Heck, you can use the same grease you deep-fried the turkey in. It don't matter. We all happy in the same places. So if you throw some chicken in there, I think life will still be good.
Jen, I'm going to just step out to the car. I feel like the two big fellas here, I'm the little runt of the group, and they're all excited and fighting. I love food, but I feel like they're looking at me like, hey, little fella, get out the way. Move on out of the way of the buffet line, fella. You're a tiny little fella.
What y'all don't know is you're listening to an actual OL coach interview. Yeah. If your OL coach does not say that you throw the chicken in the same grease as the turkey, he can't coach O-line. That's what we need.
Right.
Okay. Now the second part of the conversation, Nashawn, is as far as sides are concerned. We need a side that you think is underrated and a side that you think is overrated.
Underrated and overrated. Oh God. Well, first of all, that's an outstanding question. I think it's cultural differences when it comes to size. Obviously, man, that whole green bean casserole thing is overrated. I've been in a household that had that, and I was highly disappointed. I think something that's kind of overrated. Y'all got to remember now, we over 40 now, so mac and cheese could end up a bad night for some of us. All right, so I think mac and cheese is overrated right about now.
So you say you're not as young as you used to be, and you might not be able to handle all the cheese.
Yeah, man, that night not gonna be good when you trying to watch the Detroit Lions lose. So I usually push that Mac to the side right about now. But back in the day, it was the star of the show. Let's remember that. Macaroni used to be the star of the show. But I heard you guys talking earlier, man. I'm a big dressing guy. Like, my wife does this whole like shrimp dressing, kind of changes up. She's a seafood girl. But any kind of dressing, man, I'm super good with, man.
Bill?
He's got an interesting hot take on the mac and cheese. I get where he's going with it, but because mac and cheese is such almost an everyday thing, I think in terms of a Thanksgiving side, might be overrated. Ooh. You know, we had mac and cheese and hot dogs last Friday night, just relaxing around the house. It was, you're kind of right. It's like mac and cheese has to be there. But I think you're right. Unless it's a really specialty mac and cheese, like some kind of family recipe, you know, where it's like 5 cheeses or you got some kind of bacon in it or something. You know, I think you're onto something about mac and cheese being wildly overrated for the Thanksgiving. You might have just caused me to not put mac and again, not for your reasons, which I totally get. But you might be 100% right like that.
Yeah, I agree with you, brother.
Again, I would expect nothing less from my guy Nashawn. So let's get down to the brass tacks, man. Congratulations on another great season with the Bulldogs, man. How did it feel to bring yourselves back to prominence or back to the top of the MEAC?
Man, first of all, thank you, man. I really appreciate you, man, because you kind of know the hard work that goes into this deal, and I talked to you preseason about it, and it all actually worked out. But man, it feels great, man, and I can't praise my players enough, man. Like my O-line, all the guys on the team, but obviously specifically the O-line, they went through a lot with me this spring, all right? This training camp, all that stuff. Had to listen to me. We got an outstanding head coach, and his pedigree is offensive line play as well. So they're kind of dealing with 2 offensive line coaches on a daily basis, and it's great for us. Because, you know, we get that extra help, that extra tutelage from our head coach every day, and he pays attention to details so much that it actually helps me out as an offensive line coach. But I'm just so proud of him, man, for putting that hard work in. Our motto sometimes as an offensive line is hard work pays off. And for them to see this hard work pays off is unbelievable. And you kind of hear Coach Berry in his interviews, we talk about just going 1-0 every day. If we go 1-0 every day in everything we do, we can put together a good season and go 1-0 on Saturday, and that's exactly what we did for the second half of the season.
Let me go back to this because we watched. What was the game that they played? Those on ESPN too. North Carolina Central.
Yeah.
First time I really got to see it. The offensive concepts. We came in here after that, and kudos again to Dow Loggins. Dow Loggins has picked things up, but Nashawn, that Friday. We raved about the offense that y'all are running, the play calling. How does it differ? What do you see in the offensive system y'all are developing there?
Tempo. Tempo, man. It's a weapon, and if we use it the right way, it's a huge weapon for us. And obviously, man, just being in the South and it's hot, if we can run teams out of the stadium by just being in shape and getting on that ball, that's points in its own. And when you think about a tempo, man, the defense got to play real vanilla, right? They can't call all those intricate blitzes and stunts and all that because they're just trying to get their butts back on the ball. And as a player, you're tired. no matter what the coach is thinking on the sideline as a player, you like, oh, man, here they go again. They about to run a play. Oh, shoot, let me hurry up and get on. D-line play, Preston. You can't be on one knee looking to the sideline. No, you got to be in your stance ready to rock and roll, and we're going to run the ball down your throat. So I think the biggest thing for us, especially that game versus Central, was tempo.
So a lot of times folks don't understand offensive line play. We just see a bunch of dudes bumping into each other. We don't really understand what's happening. And so really quickly, when you say y'all gotten better over the year, what's something that you can point to that y'all have gotten better at throughout the year?
Oh, man, our communication, man. Our synergy is so good up front, man. Just all parts working together as one. And, I mean, just being able to see my older guys play like older guys, play like seasoned veterans, making those calls and pointing. And as you see, if you watch a football game, you typically see the center just pointing around and identifying the mic call or identifying blitzers. But when you watch us play, man, you'll see all 5 of our guys pointing, saying something, identifying, communicating with the quarterback, communicating with the running back, and that's a big deal for us. So I think our communication has been huge for us this year and literally physically pointing to some of our assignments.
All right, so we got Nan Goddard, OL coach of South Carolina State, MEAC champs. You got time to hang with us to come back on the other side?
Absolutely.
All right, when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit of Clemson and talk a little bit of the rivalry.
We'll get to it. Nan Goddard joining us, side aficionado, fan of the. Real quick, Nan. It sounded like you might have had ham above turkey. Am I wrong on that, or did you have the ham above the turkey?
Listen, I kind of do, bro. Like, 'cause ham, you gotta look at the big picture with ham. Ham is one of those things you can eat for about 3-4 days afterwards. You throw that thing inside of a Hawaiian roll with a little bit of mayo, and I mean, dude, it's a whole nother sandwich for a whole nother day. So not only is the ham clutch on the day of Thanksgiving, dip it in some honey, let it drizzle around your potato salad and your greens and your collard greens and stuff, but then you think about the aftermath, 2-3 days afterwards of making ham sandwiches. Oh, dude, I mean, I just painted that picture for you. You got to enjoy that, man.
Also, we might have to dig just a tad into this honey. I get where he's going with the honey ham, but I feel like he's got the little bear that has the honey in it, the little yellow top. And he's just, everybody sitting there, he's like, yeah. And he's pouring it on the ham, and he's looking around the table like, you know what I'm doing.
It's a straight shot to the mouth. Let's not lie.
That's my guy.
Oh, no doubt. No doubt. You got your ham, you got your honey, you got to have 1 or 2 pineapples kind of marinade on that thing. And I mean, it was just like the sweet taste of honey ham, man. You can't lose, bro.
I think we have officially found Coach Leach's replacement.
That's our guy.
That's our guy. He is.
I think we got it.
He is Nan Goddard, South Carolina State offensive line coach, and also a member, like Preston, of the. Was it called the Palmetto Bowl?
I think it might have been. I think it might have been.
All right. And he is also a former member of the Palmetto Bowl. We'll let Preston and Nan relive some memories from their time playing in it and what it means to recruits in the state. Nan's from Ohio. We'll see what he thinks about recruiting in-state and having players that have grown up around this rivalry as opposed to him who had to come down here and learn a little bit about it and, from what I understand, pass a test, I guess, to be allowed to play in it. We'll get some thoughts on that as well. You're listening to Bill Gunner, Preston Thorne, Jen Jensen, joined on the phone this morning by Nan Goddard, former South Carolina offensive lineman and now current offensive line coach at South Carolina State. It is the early game. Bill Gunner for Dr. Dan Ball tonight and the Men's Clinic. Guys, you heard me kind of talking about it. As we get older, as we age, man, our bodies change a little bit. We're not like we were in our 20s. I'm 42 now, and then things just, you get sick or you have some issues, whether it's at work or whether it's at play. You're not recovering from the gym quick enough. Maybe there's other issues you're having, and at times as men, we tend to just shrug them off. We push them off. We worry about others. You have to worry about your health. And you know what? There's nothing generic about you, so why are you settling settling for general medical care. Go to a place that's safe, that's confidential, that's convenient, that's professional. That is Dr. Dan Bucknight and the Men's Clinic. Call today and schedule an appointment. Do not keep putting off any health issues that you may be having. 803-875-MENS. For more information, to learn more, go to their website, themensclinicsc.com. Schedule an appointment, 803-875-MENS. Call today. Tell them Bill Gunner sent you.
Still have the all clear out on the highways. Don't really see any slowdowns to speak of. 70 will be our high today, maybe just a couple pop-up morning showers. Tomorrow, clouds and 66. And then for Thanksgiving, could see some thunderstorms, rain in different parts of the day, but not a washout throughout the day for sure. 72 will be our high, but a little bit cooler in the overnight. About 43 overnight. Come Friday, it'll be a high of only 58 with the overnight low of 32. So a cooling trend really starting on Friday. Right now, though, it's 59 and overcast on 107.5 The Game.
Reminder coming up later today, speaking of any sides that you might not like, the post-game show, you can take those sides out there and throw it at Jay Phillips or Elijah Campbell. 3 to 6 today. They will be at Cato's Power Equipment, 4012 Beltline Boulevard here in Columbia. You can stop by and register to win. Again, Carolina Clemson football tickets, Carolina Clemson men's basketball, and Carolina Clemson baseball tickets, all three. The winner will be drawn on our show, 7:30 on Friday morning. But stop by and see the postgame show live today from Cato's Power Equipment, 4012 Beltline Boulevard. And again, if you've, in Jen's case, already got a side that you're trying to make disappear, just go take it and scoop some out and throw it at Jay Phillips. There you
Seems
go.
awfully aggressive.
It's Thanksgiving. Go ahead and get your aggression out now on Jay Phillips before dealing with your family. Looking at you, Jen Jensen.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Exactly. 803-404-6100. A couple of y'all weighing in. Texter John says underrated. I'll probably get hated on, but underrated. Green bean casserole. Rich, creamy with crispy onions on top. Another texter goes with extremely underrated. Brussels sprouts. How you two feel? Nashawn, how you feel about Brussels sprouts?
Not a fan. Not a fan.
Okay. All right. No problem. Preston?
Not for Thanksgiving.
Okay.
No,
Yeah, not for Thanksgiving.
not for Thanksgiving.
I'm not sure where this texter's going, but he says underrated potato salad, overrated chicken and dumplings. I don't know if chicken and dumplings is a, well, look, to each their own, but
I guess.
another texter weighs in. This is Robin. This is our good texter, Robin. Teacher, final day. Good luck out there going to the final day of teaching the kids who
It's
are
a
not.
good day. Yeah, this is cool. This is a cool day.
Kids are not interested in being at school today. They're just looking at you.
We're all good today.
By the way, real quick, my daughter, I picked her up from high school yesterday. I said, well, how'd you do? She goes, I don't know. The teacher wheeled in a TV, and we had to watch a movie and answer questions. But I was like, yeah, that teacher's checked out for the week.
For sure.
Whoever that was
best day ever.
was checked out for the week. Texter says, most overrated. This is Robin. Most overrated, sweet potato casserole. Most underrated is best Southern dressing.
Oof. That's tough.
Interesting. Now, William on the live stream says that sweet potato casserole is underrated.
I tend to agree.
Yeah, I'm about to go with him on that.
Tend to
I
agree.
feel like sweet potato casserole is a hot topic for people. You either are in or you're not. Joel goes with mashed potato. Mashed potatoes are massively overrated. We'll probably skip entirely. Any fresh vegetables are underrated. Green beans, kale salad, etc. You need something to cleanse the palate a bit.
No, you don't.
No. Whoever said that is on to something. Like when you said Brussels sprouts, I'm like, yeah, if I'm on a diet or something, but you know, Thanksgiving is the opposite of a diet. You're really trying to turn up on this day.
One more. Matt goes with overrated. Mashed potatoes, underrated. Southern brown rice.
Okay, I hear you. I hear you on the brown rice.
What is Southern brown rice?
It's a rice dish made with
I think you consomme
beef
soup?
consomme.
Yeah.
It's a solid deal.
My grandmother
It's not brown rice. It's not healthy at all. You need a stick of butter to make it unhealthy.
I had a
brown rice.
grandmother that made that back in the day, and yeah, it was like
Solid.
it was a meal in itself. Like I didn't eat anything else. That was my favorite. That was honestly one of my favorite things growing up. 803-404-6100. Keep sending them in. Nashawn, Preston, tell us what y'all think about playing in this game. Nashawn, I'll start with you. An out-of-stater who had to come and learn about this game through, I guess, a test that Lou Holtz would give you. But what do you remember about coming from the north and coming down to be a part of this game?
Man, you know, I understood immediately how important this game was because, I mean, I'm from Ohio, so it was always about Ohio State and Michigan, but it's not an in-state rivalry. So a Michigan fan might live in Michigan, and I never had to see them again until next season. You know what I'm saying? Whereas this type of bowl, in-state rivalry, is different where, like, Preston went to high school with some of them Clemson dudes, and he has to see them in the game and 365 after the game. You know what I'm saying? And I think it's more intense when it's in-state rival and you actually went to high school to play Pee Wee ball with some of these guys. And just playing in the game, and you see how intense it is because everybody really wants to win this game. And it's truly a house divided, man. Your significant other might have went to the opposite school, and you want those bragging rights for the rest of the year, you know what I mean? And your next-door neighbor, he's walking around with a big old Clemson flag in his yard, and you got your South Carolina flag in your yard, so it's some big-time bragging rights, and I'm so happy to have been a part of it.
That's a really interesting point that you said because, yes, you're right. I did have several players. There was one offensive lineman, shout out to Dustin. Bernard Rambert was playing running back during those times. And so you know these people, and so you're going to continue to have those conversations over time. Can you speak to the level of intensity? What year was the first year that you played? And as you went through this season, was the level of intensity of this game different than any other games?
Yeah, I think the first year I actually played, I redshirted in 2001. I played in the 2002 game.
Mm-hmm.
And, I mean, we had a decent year that year, you know what I mean? And we played a good season. But it's like, dude, if we don't win this game, this season really didn't matter.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's one of those games where you could go 0-10 and, heck, you beat Clemson, and that 1-10 feels so much better. And, like I said, that year we had a pretty good regular season, pretty good year. Went back to the Outback Bowl or whatever. And, man, just that game. We actually won that year. And just the magnitude of that game was something special, man, just being a part of it, obviously winning and all that good stuff. Because after that, I kind of went on a drought. I don't think I beat them anymore after that. So, I mean, that was huge for me. But, you know, being a part of that game, and obviously, unfortunately, we were part of the scuffle.
Right.
I call it a scuffle now, not a brawl. But being a part of that wasn't a great deal either, because that was one of the last few games my grandmother saw before she passed away or whatever. So, but, you know, just made that intensity of it all, like you said, Preston, man, just the magnitude of that game. And now I think it's more riding on it now because, you know, both teams are a lot better as well.
Well, you were part of the changeover between Coach Holtz and Coach Spurrier. And Coach Spurrier kind of de-emphasized the Clemson game, and he talked about winning in the SEC. Can you talk about how he changed that messaging for the team?
Yeah, absolutely. Because like you said, man, when you were there, it was like the whole season is riding on this one game.
Mm-hmm.
And Coach Spurrier kind of brought to the team that, you know, the whole season is not riding on this one game. We have a lot of season to play. We play against a lot better teams in the SEC than they are. And all we got to do is approach this game like this is just another game and game plan for it and prepare like we would prepare for anyone else. And I think that took a lot of the, I guess they say, the steam out off of that game. You know what I mean? Kind of that mental aspect of the game out of it, where all this is riding on one game type deal. And he made it just another game. And after he did that, you saw South Carolina kind of went on like a 5-0, 6 out of 7 type run, because you normalized that game and didn't make it a championship game, so to speak.
Two-part question. One, how lame was it when y'all had to shake hands in that 05 game, when you had to shake hands pre-game? Was it just lame on TV, or was it lame in real life?
Man, it was lame on earth. Like, it was like, man, come on now. Like, this ain't what we do. And no matter how y'all trying to de-escalate the problems before it starts, sometimes it's good to let it go down. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was very lame, man, because it was unauthentic. And I think people can see that, man. Ain't nothing better than genuine people, genuine players. And, I mean, just think about a handshake after the game from head coaches that don't get along. Like, the whole media, we're all over because we want to see what they're going to do. And it's almost kind of whack when coaches do get along and they're hugging and talking. Right. And you're like, man, I want to see that. I want to see some gangster stuff go down real quick. You know what I mean? So, but, yeah, man, it was very lame.
All right, second part of the question. When you were in the league, when you were in NFL, how important were bragging rights in these types of games? Did you play with any players that were Clemson players, or how important were the bragging rights?
First of all, the bragging rights are huge anywhere you go, and it's crazy to say it. I don't remember playing with many Clemson guys. I think when I was with the Jets, I was on the team with Justin Miller, and honestly, that was the time where we were beating Clemson's butt, so that was some easy money I made during that time. But honestly, man, it was more SEC stuff.
Yeah.
Because it's so many SEC news in the NFL that you're always going to bet against your team. With your team versus their team. And it's so many SEC bragging rights. I think when I was in the league in 06, I think that was the year Carolina was super good. Like, I mean, we was on that whole string of 10-2 seasons or whatever. And I mean, bro, I made a killing that year, man, and just bets and stuff. But we beat Ole Miss, and Eli was so mad. And I'm like, dude, it's gonna happen every year from this point on now that we got Spurrier. And I swear, we beat Ole Miss, like we beat Georgia convincingly, like we was beating all the top dogs for like about a 3-4 year span. And I mean, it was just great to be in the locker room at that time of life.
So real quick, get about 30 seconds. Your prediction for Saturday afternoon.
Oh, man, as long as our offensive line come out to play, man, like they've been doing, Lonnie Teasley and those guys are doing a phenomenal job. And the defensive line, Trayvon Robinson, man, Coach Sharp and those guys, they're kicking butt. If they come out and play like they've been playing, don't need to change nothing. Watch a highlight film of the last couple games and get amped up and to go out there and do what they've been doing. we should come out on top, man. Obviously, it's going to be a good close game. It's at Clemson. You know what I'm saying? Don't nobody really score a lot in that game. I'm thinking 24-18.
Coach, we always appreciate it. Best of luck to you and congratulations on a great season. We'll catch up with you soon.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you so much. Tune in. Celebration Bowl, December 14th versus the SWAC champion. Go Dogs.
Take care. We'll be right back.
Appreciate you. Pressing here for our friends at Absolute Glass, the premier glass company of the Midlands, offering auto, home, and business glass repair. So if your glass is damaged, shattered, cracked, or broken, they can handle the job. If it's a cracked windshield, that's no problem. They'll come out to your location and replace it for you, usually for free, and they'll work directly with the insurance company to take away the headache. That's right. They'll come out to wherever you are, school, home, work. It does not matter. Now, if you're at home and you're looking to increase the value of your home, Absolute Glass can do that too. Windows, mirrors, shower enclosures. Say it all the time. If you can see through it, Ray and Marianne at Absolute Glass can do it. So check them out online at AbsoluteGlassInc.com. That's online at AbsoluteGlassInc.com.
And out there on the highways this morning, we're not really seeing any slowdowns. No accidents to report. It's a great day to be out and about. 70 for the high today. Maybe just a couple showers popping up this morning. Really, those possibilities ending before lunchtime. And then a high, like I said, of 70, 66 tomorrow. Some possibility for some showers, maybe even a pop-up thunderstorm for Thanksgiving. High of 72 before a cooling trend then comes in on Friday, where we're only at about 58, and the overnight lows potentially in the 30s. Right now, 59 on the early game.
.36 as we roll along here. JC Sherbet set to join us here in just a few minutes. Again, a reminder, we got a lot going on throughout the week. I mentioned earlier the postgame show live today from Cato's Power Equipment, 4012 Beltline Boulevard. You can stop by there today and register to win Carolina Clemson football tickets, Carolina Clemson men's basketball tickets, and Carolina Clemson baseball tickets. You can get all three. We will draw the winner on Friday, 7:30 a.m. So about this time on Friday, we will draw the winner right here. Also tonight, just FYI, schedule change because of Thanksgiving week. You can hear Carolina Calls with Shane Beamer coming up tonight, 6 o'clock, right here on 107.5 at the game. So you can get your Thanksgiving questions into him. Preston, you want to take a guess of what a Shane Beamer? Now, Shane's a fit guy. Will Muschamp was not. And Will Muschamp called it as being just a meal. Shane Beamer's more of a fit guy. You want to just take a guess into what his plate would look like?
Ooh, that's a great question. I'm wondering. He is definitely of the lean variety. I feel like he might be like, I need white meat turkey, mashed potatoes, hold the gravy. Or maybe he lets himself go. I feel
like he lets himself go.
He might absolutely enjoy the family.
Yeah, he might enjoy the time.
JC Sherbet joining us from thebigspur.com. All right, JC, before we get to actual football, number one, biggest question of the day, your most overrated Thanksgiving side and your most underrated Thanksgiving side.
I feel like we talked about this last year.
We probably do.
So if my answer changes, we all grow in life, right?
There we go. Mm-hmm.
Overrated side, I'll say this: green bean casserole is not my favorite. I like it, but it doesn't hold a candle to like broccoli casserole. Now, let me give it. There's a caveat. If it's my Aunt Julie's green bean casserole, she makes it sort of like broccoli casserole. It's the bomb. But if it's just the normal cream of mushroom soup with the French onions on top, a lot of people swear by it. I'm just not. I'm not as big into that as some of your other standard sides. My favorite side is either broccoli casserole my mom makes, or my dad's potato salad recipe is mustard based and off the chain. So the one of those two, I can't decide. One's cold, one's hot. I mean, come on, you can't make me pick. And you're choosing between your two parents too. So that's just not fair on Thanksgiving.
And then that leads us to our second question there of, what would you expect on Shane Beamer's Thanksgiving plate? I feel like Muschamp was the guy who took it way too serious and tried to go lean, whereas Shane's the guy who knows, hey, I'm going to be working out later. This is a good meal.
Yeah, through the years following Beamer, he's talked about it, and it seems like at Virginia Tech there was a video of him working out. Like I'm pretty sure, I don't know now as a head coach, I'm pretty sure the guy gets in there and works out like a champion, just like he was playing. And so guys like that, they're gonna. You look at them when they're at Thanksgiving, and you go, "Good Lord, dude!" Because they're gonna burn it off pretty quick. And so I would imagine, with a wife and kids and family and all that, he probably gets after it pretty good. I would guess, but I don't know why we're calling Will Muschamp
overweight. I mean, my man, he wasn't fat, I didn't think, But anyway, so
he wasn't.
He's probably not as in good a shape as Shane Beamer.
He wasn't Mark Mangino or Charlie Weiss, mind you, but
there's been other, or some other coaches that have.
Yeah, he's not Brett Bielema.
Hey, don't knock BD Bielema. Go look at his wife.
let's talk a little football real quick. Your take on what you saw last week and how it translates now to this week, if there is any translation to coming back for this game from what Wofford, anything we got out of the Wofford game.
Well, I mean, just from a matchup standpoint, obviously it was a sloppy start. Saw Georgia start real sloppy too. I mean, these games that on Sun Belt Saturday or SoCon Saturday, whatever you want to call it, sometimes, they're not the most well played. You got distractions with senior day and all that. I think that the good thing is the game was a big score. Everybody got to play. That kind of helps your morale. Week of practice, everybody's played. It's not one of those where you have to fight and scratch your claw, and everybody's kind of tired afterward. I thought they executed pretty well in the passing game on offense. Defense got a little leaky, but, I've kind of looked at this defense. It's one of the more crazy things about this crazy year in college football. South Carolina's defense has been dominant on the road. At home, not so much. And if you kind of look at how the games have played out, they've obviously been a very talented defense, very good, one of the best in the country. But it hasn't been like you look at the road games. Carolina's flat out shut teams down. I mean, there were two parts of the Alabama game where they scored, but after that, beyond that, Carolina's defense played well, and Kentucky, Vanderbilt, Oklahoma, obviously. So, if you're concerned about the defense, I share your concerns. The one thing you can't do is let Clemson's receivers get loose and Beringstool and Klubnik and those guys beat you, and Maffa. But, there is precedent where this defense does, for some reason, play better away from home. And so with it being up there, that's a pretty good sign. But, no, I thought the games for Clemson and Carolina both went well, about like it was expected. They took care of business, and now it's on to bigger business this week.
We'll come back. We'll get your thoughts on some recruiting. A lot happening here. Palmetto State. This game normally actually doesn't decide recruits either way, Gamecocks or Tigers. But we'll get your take on where South Carolina stands. I keep missing it. Signing day am I right? Today is Tuesday. It's the 4th, so it's a week from tomorrow, correct? It's the actual early signing day.
Yeah, that's we're coming down to it. It's coming early this year, like everything else. So I think it's probably a pretty good move just because of the Decembers that coaches were having. But so it's coming down to it, and some good news for Carolina on the crystal ball. And yeah, things are going well. So
we'll talk about that. Yeah, for those that aren't aware, it moved up 2 weeks. Signing day for the early signing period will occur next Wednesday. We'll get JC's take on that and thoughts on Clemson. You're listening to the early game. Bill Gunner from Mid-State Roofing, where for nearly 30 years, Larry Leitner, owner and founder of Mid-State Roofing, has led their team to being the leader in the roofing and waterproofing industry. And the reason being is because they think of your roof 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. That's right. Doesn't matter. Right now here at 746 on your Tuesday morning, if you've discovered a leak, if you're walking through the house and you're like, it's not good news. Well, who do I call? You call Mid-State Roofing. You'll speak with an on-call technician or a Mid-State Roofing employee, and they'll help you protect that roof with a maintenance contract. Doesn't matter if you're here in Columbia, Florence, Myrtle Beach, Charleston, Aiken, Augusta, Greenville, Spartanburg. Mid-State Roofing roofs the entire state, and it'll be ready to help your business or your home with its roofing needs. Call today, 803-356-1919. Again, that's 803-356-1919. You know what they say. If you've got a leak, let Mid-State Roofing take a peek. Wrapping up hour number 2 here, JC Sherbet joining us for one more segment as we wanted to get Nan Goddard in before he got to work this morning. So JC kind enough to join us for 2 segments this morning. And JC, let's talk a little recruiting for a second here. It is, if you're not paying attention, recruiting signing day used to be such a big deal. This next, the second signing day in February will have some jazz to it, I think, as we'll see what Donovan Murph is doing at about that time. But next week could be a big step in the right direction for Shane Beamer, maybe coming off of a big win with some big commitments.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, look, I think, the focus is on some of the flip candidates, obviously. Mike Tyler, the tight end from Hammond, committed to LSU. We'll see what happens with him. Locally, you also have from Georgia, Kevin Wynn, technically still committed to Florida State. I guess he's going to visit there. And Georgia's playing Georgia Tech, of course, on Black Friday, and then Florida plays Florida State. Southern Cal's kind of still in the mix there. I put in a crystal ball for the Gamecocks because he's told other schools that's where he's going, but you do have to survive those visits. And then from Conyers, Georgia, Christian Ingram, kind of a late riser, 6'6", 290 defensive tackle, big old guy. These late risers these days, they don't get ranked that high because nobody wants to be wrong when they do rankings way too early. But he is as good as anybody in the state of Georgia. As far as upside goes, Carolina needs interior defensive lineman. Anna Adams for 24/7 Sports put a crystal ball in. I'm probably going to join her for him. He had just had a fantastic visit officially for the Wofford game. Southern Cal's in the mix there a little bit, Georgia a little bit, Kentucky, Michigan for Christian Ingram. But that could be a very significant late pickup. Through the years, late pickups have done well. I'm thinking about, Sky Moore and some guys like that, Rashad Fenton. But so that's good news there. They're still trying to kind of, number one, keep everybody together. You mentioned Donovan Murph, probably not going to sign until later. But that's good. It'll give them something to do in February. to kind of track for fans and everybody else. But, yeah, this is going to be a much better class than people thought. Just the season going well and some seasons not going well in some other places. It's a little bit unprecedented because that just doesn't happen a whole lot these days. Usually we're already on to 2026 by now, but it does look like there's going to be some recruiting drama down the stretch with some of the flips, and we'll see who the Gamecocks get in the boat next Wednesday.
Couple names, Xavier Hardy. We keeping an eye on him, or is he pretty locked in? That'd be another defensive tackle, junior college defensive tackle. Are they pretty locked in? Is he pretty locked in with Mississippi State, or is there anything brewing there potentially?
I'm not ready to not track it, Bill. I think the Mississippi State thing is, hey, we don't really have anybody come play, and they've got some lines in the Mississippi junior colleges. So I don't know. If you just put a gun to my head, I'd say he probably stick with Mississippi State, but he has a long history with South Carolina. There's some other guys out there too to kind of keep an eye on, but I'm just not I'm probably not as confident about that, but we'll see. We'll see kind of how it all shakes out.
One other that I got a question here on is Jerome Simmons, the big junior college defensive tackle from last year who didn't qualify. Still on the board, or is that done with? They moved on there?
Last I heard, they were still trying to get him in. Honestly, with everybody else, I haven't checked for an update on him. But last I heard, it was still kind of one of those things. With JUCOs, though, and academics, sometimes, and this happens at a lot of schools, there are times where it just doesn't work out academically, and they end up going someplace else. There's been several like that through the years. But right now, I would still keep an eye on him as well.
I believe we're still waiting official word on Clarence Bailey, offensive lineman from Lackawanna, Pennsylvania, and his eligibility.
Yeah, there's another guy out there maybe to look at, Shandavian Bradley, who was a five-star guy that went from Missouri that went to Tennessee, and now he's at JUCO. Keep an eye on him a little bit too. I don't know what with no home games left, no visit weekends left. Yeah, you don't know for sure how it's going to shake out. But with the early period and all. But he's a junior college guy. But I would keep an eye on him as well.
If we did sign Clarence, he would officially have the oldest sounding name in the class.
Yes. Well, he'd fit with Wendell and Fred and everything.
Yeah. Clarence Bailey, that sounds like a saxophone player.
JC, about 2 minutes left. Your thoughts on this weekend and how this game kind of goes for the Gamecocks?
Well, you can't make mistakes, can't turn the ball over, and you got to tackle well. I think, you can't let their skill guys get loose in the secondary. And you have to pressure Klubnik and then make sure he doesn't run out of there and burn you. I think the Gamecocks have an advantage with their defense versus the Clemson offense. Clemson's a hard team to figure out, guys. Even they found ways to win in different ways this year. And those types of teams are dangerous because they're kind of adaptable, kind of a chameleon team. There's been games where they've given up a bunch of yards passing. The games they've given up a bunch of yards rushing. It's rarely at the same time. The defense played really well at Virginia Tech. I kind of thought they would, but other games they haven't. So I don't know what to make of them, really. It's hard to tell just because of their schedule and, kind of the way the season's unfolded. But I think they're a dangerous football team. They have athletes. They have players. They're not going to come into this game intimidated at all. So the Gamecocks better have one of their big road games like they have Kentucky, Vandy, Oklahoma, that type of deal to show up, or they'll get beat. I mean, Clemson knows they're in the playoff hunt just like the Gamecocks, probably a little better situated. And so if they could win this game, they could get in contention for an at-large. You never know with Miami. They may lose a game. Clemson may be going to Charlotte. So it's a game where South Carolina has to show up and play well. I keep hearing that the Gamecocks, should go up there and win pretty good from Clemson and Carolina people both. But I'll remind everybody about this game, the history, and a lot of weird things sometimes happen. Most of the time the best team wins, but sometimes some weird things happen. So Gamecocks have to play their best, I think, to go get a win.
Buddy, we hope you have a great Thanksgiving. Thank you for accommodating us this morning, giving us the 2 extra segments, man. We look forward to catching up with you next week and discussing it all and looking ahead to what's in the future.
All right, thanks, Bill. Thanks, Preston. Happy Thanksgiving, guys.
Same.
Happy Thanksgiving. We'll come back. Hour 3 on the way.
Do you wake up with joint pain, whether it's from old injuries or simply getting old? Or have they told you that it's time for a knee or hip replacement? Stop what you're doing and listen, because you deserve a life of comfort and ease with no surgery, no meds, and no downtime. And QC Kinetics can get you there. QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in regenerative cellular treatments for joint pain. This is an all-natural approach that harnesses your body's own healing properties to treat the root cause of your arthritic pain. You can have real, lasting relief from chronic joint pain without drugs, without surgery, and without downtime. So discover your options with advanced regenerative medicine at QC Kinetics. The consultation is free, and you can use HSA and FSA dollars. So call 803-281-6860. That's 803-281-6860. Again, QC Kinetics at 803-281-6860.
Things have been moving along really, really well this morning. Still no accidents to report. Not complaining whatsoever. We really don't have any major tie-ups that we haven't been alerted to. And we're looking for a high today of 70. Maybe just a couple morning showers could pop up, not guaranteed. 66 tomorrow, 72, maybe a thunderstorm on Thanksgiving. And then the cool down starts on Friday. 58 for the high overnight, low 32. We stay in the 50s the remainder of the weekend and pop into the 40s to start your work week. But won't worry about that right now. A little overcast, and it's 60 currently on 107.5 The Game.
$8 a.m. on a Tuesday morning. get the kids into school. Preston, you remember these days as a teacher, the day before a holiday? It feels like when I was ready for a grandpa, old man moment. We need like a sounder for this, like old man talk, old lady talk, like, because a lot of us probably, I feel like we went to school Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then had Thursday, Friday off when we were in school.
Yeah, there's some truth to that. They've manipulated the schedule. The truth of the matter is we've always been going to school for 180 days for a long time. It's just the way that they manipulate the days off. So, like, I guess a lot of counter to the old man talk is like, no, actually the facts are we've been going 180 days has been the standard for a long time. It's just how they manipulate the days.
Boy, are they manipulating. But
yes, they are.
So teachers today arriving, basically just here's how Thanksgiving occurred, kids. Watch the video.
Here's the thing. On these days, you have to have stuff planned because you can't give kids too much free time because then they do something stupid. But then you don't want to give yourself, say, like, I'm giving away the game here, but if you don't want to give a test today because then you got to grade it.
Right.
You don't want to do that. So you got to try and figure out a way to kind of everybody. Remember how you talked about the Missouri-Mississippi State game, how everybody just comes to an agreement?
Right.
The students and teachers have to come to an agreement today. Like, listen, you chill, I'ma chill. Let's just all get through this.
A lot of Charlie Brown Thanksgiving.
Let's just figure out a way to all make this thing work. Don't do anything silly today.
So everybody enjoy the day. Get yourself ready because I think tomorrow has really kind of become more of a not an official national holiday, but it's like, hey, Thanksgiving's here. I'm not going to do a whole lot of work.
Sure.
So we will be in here.
So really, how is that different from any other day for you?
Jen, working with you is like a vacation every day.
I know.
Every day in my life is a vacation when I see you.
I mean, as long as you're speaking the truth.
Yeah, it's I to be completely honest, I told Terry we didn't include you in our quick staff meeting that just occurred during the break.
Oh, okay.
But we discussed days off, and I was like, they're doing the 6 to 9 show with Preston and Jen. I can do it most days. I am about to take some days off. Prepare accordingly.
As am I.
Yeah, okay. We will be here tomorrow, and we'll be here Friday.
Correct.
Got to get through rivalry week.
So that brings us to the question: Who is this game bigger for?
Listen, man, I've said it over and over again, and I want to let's see if we can replay this, Jen. This is clip number 8, and this is where Dabo is talking about the idea of expectation versus appreciation. And this is why I'm arguing that this game is way bigger for those guys in the orange breeches than it is maybe for the South Carolina Gamecocks.
Problem is the appreciation. I used to tell people all the time, they'd say, what's the difference in Clemson? Let me tell you, at some places there's an expectation, but at Clemson there's an appreciation. And what's happened at Clemson is we've won so much that even when it used to be the fun's in the winning, now even when you win, people like you complain and criticize the coaches and question everything. People like you, all right?
And the point is if they lose Saturday, there's going to be a lot of criticism of Dabo Swinney, given that their 3 losses will come to what I would say is the 3 main teams they played. I don't want to throw Virginia Tech out too much on that. They did go up there and beat Virginia Tech, but Georgia obviously was the monster game. They got handled in that game. Louisville was a big game at home for them. Did not win that one, and South Carolina is the biggest game on their schedule now all season long because again. You at least going in, Preston, as I sit here on Tuesday morning at 8 o'clock, it feels like this is the closest these two programs have been since 2013 and maybe 2012 because, as I said earlier, it felt like these two programs in 2013 when South Carolina won. That was the final game in that 5-game win streak. It felt like Clemson was catching them. Mm-hmm. Clemson kind of dominated that night. They outgained South Carolina, but Clemson had 6 turnovers in 2013. Gamecocks scored 14 points in the fourth quarter to win that game. But I remember walking out in the euphoria of winning 5 in a row, but I remember in the back of my mind going, they really probably should have won that game. Well, last year, I feel like it was very similar. South Carolina did not allow Clemson to score an offensive touchdown. South Carolina had the massive mistake on the second play of the game. Might have been the first play of the game. I've blocked that out. But it felt like South Carolina should have won last year. They didn't. They made the dumb mistakes, and it cost them the game. It feels like these two programs are the closest they've been in over 10 years.
And that's the issue. The last thing that JC said was that he's heard from both Carolina fans and Clemson fans that they think Carolina's going to go up there and win. And I haven't heard a lot of votes of confidence from the folks that I know who are Clemson fans. Like, they haven't been celebrating this year. They've been playing this year. They find they're winning their games, but they're not excited. They're not enthused. The program is sort of middling. Revving high, they're still winning 9 games, and that's the problem. And I think we're making fun of Dabo, but he's dead on. They've seen the mountaintop. They've gone all the way to the top, though it was a long time ago, I'd like to point out. And 9 games is not going to do for them anymore. A Citrus Bowl berth is not going to do for them anymore. Maybe even a berth into the playoffs is not good enough for what they think they are. And quite frankly, they're not that anymore because – again, as JC was saying, we can't let their receivers get loose. And I'm like, who? Okay, they got some dudes that are okay, but they don't have Newt Hopkins running through there. It's not Sammy Watkins. It's not any of those guys that they used to have. They are much more compatible to where we are as a program than where they were during that stretch of dominance that they had.
Yeah, there is an element to this, if we're being serious, that not that it's not ever, but if South Carolina doesn't get them this year and kind of get this rivalry back to being somewhat on an even plane, at least closer than, again, it's been over the last 10 years. Because, quite frankly, since 2013, it's not even like South Carolina's won a game, but it's not even like most of those games were competitive. The Will Muschamp era, and for those that wonder, you just wonder, because I do think Shane Beamer and Dabo Swinney have a friendlier relationship. Competitive, but friendly. To say there was a dislike between Will Muschamp and Dabo Swinney would be to say that there's a height difference between you and I.
Yeah, there was a problem.
They did not like each other. I've heard stories on both sides. And so Dabo had no problem just running it over Will Muschamp during that period. And he would. And South Carolina offered zero resistance.
And I remember when the first time they went up there, I remember talking to Langston. He was doing the sideline reporting at the time. And he was just saying how he didn't think Will Muschamp got it. He was like, he didn't understand the gravity of the rivalry as they went into the game. And I believe they got handled by a lot to a little. The first time they might have went up there was a night game.
56-7 up there.
And it was embarrassing. And Langston was just like, I don't think he gets the importance of this game to us. And I don't know if he ever actually got that. But yes, this has been dominance. And at this point, the Clemson fan base, and this is why I think I'm going to keep hammering this home, this game is more important to them than it is to us because it represents them maybe slipping, their grasp of this maybe slipping a little bit away from them.
Shane Beamer would be 2-2 against them through 4 years. 2-2 against them through 4 years, and it would be having come a long way from that 30-0 game, Shane Beamer's first year, to now being 2-2 against them, having taken 2 of the last 3. 803-404-6100. To the phone lines we go. William wants to weigh in this morning on the Carolina Clemson game. William, how you doing? What's on your mind?
Yeah, thanks for taking my call. Love listening to the show. This question is mainly for Preston. Where do you see Clemson having the advantage versus where we have the advantage? I feel like we're pretty even, honestly, at quarterback and running back, to be honest with you. I feel like we have a good defense. I feel like they have a good defense. But where do you see key matchups as far as offense and defense that's like, okay, if we're going to try to exploit this is what we should do. If they're going to try to exploit something, I mean, I see them trying to run the ball like Missouri did, where they would have the O-line go one way and they would counter the running back to run another way. That seemed to work really well. But I'll hang up, and thanks for taking my call.
I appreciate you listening. If healthy, which I haven't seen the injury reports, but if healthy, Clemson has an advantage on their offensive line is better than our offensive line, just position group by position group, if healthy. That being said, they do have some guys that have been battling injuries this year, so we have to see what that is considered. I also think that their defensive end, and I forget his name, could have a pretty big day against our offensive tackles. I forget their defensive ends names, but he's really good. I do think that is a potential problem spot for us, being able to keep him in check. And I forget his name, and I'm blanking on that. But that's the two parts. Their offensive line is better than ours if healthy, however, and at defensive end, that could be some problem spots for us.
It'll be interesting, and I agree with what you're saying. Obviously, for South Carolina, the percentages are now higher. I'd go higher than single digits for the playoffs. But a texter says this game means more to Clemson. South Carolina has an outside shot at the playoff. Yeah, but for Clemson also, Clemson maybe at 10-2. You start to break down the playoffs. It is the closest thing that we have to an elimination game. It really is. The loser. Now Clemson can lose this game. Miami can lose to Syracuse, which some seem to be projecting to happen. Clemson can get into the ACC, beat SMU, and then go. So they're not completely eliminated as far as a loss goes. That loss would have to come later in the afternoon when if Miami were to lose to Syracuse. But I do think for the direction of both programs is what you're referring to and what it means. So for that texter who's taking it the wrong way and not understanding what we're trying to say, it does. I think you're right, because what Dabo's saying in this comment, in this clip that we've been laughing at and playing, is essentially the same thing Steve Spurrier left Florida for back in the day, where he basically said it's no fun winning 10 games around here anymore because people only dwell on the 2 losses and say we didn't accomplish a national championship, and that was the only reason we're playing the game for.
And that's what you have to be aware of. That's what you have to be aware of that. And we've told you on the early game, we've told you, enjoy the winning, because you don't know how long it's going to last and you don't know when it's going to be over. Those folks at Clemson just assumed that another generational quarterback was going to walk through those doors. They thought it was going to be DJU. They thought it was going to be Cade Klubnik. And guess what? It hasn't been. You know why? Because it's difficult to get that guy. But they just assumed that it was going to happen, and they thought they were going to get.
Well, when DJU committed, they were like, well, here comes the next guy.
Right.
And he had that monster game against Notre Dame up there in South Bend when Trevor Lawrence was out, and everybody went, see, it'll just keep rolling. Everything will keep rolling. He's the next guy.
And it doesn't just keep rolling. And that's what, if anything, as maybe we're going to see here shortly with our women's basketball team, things don't just keep rolling. It takes work, and it takes readjustment, and being able to do it year after year after year is a commitment. So I think those folks got spoiled, and quite frankly, a loss on them would be really difficult for them to handle because they're very fragile right now.
803-404-6100. Continue to send in your overrated and underrated sides. Walt weighs in. Overrated, cranberry sauce. Underrated, stuffing and dressing with gravy. That cranberry sauce. And then this coming in, texter, just tuned in. Not sure if y'all are still in the Thanksgiving depth chart, but deviled eggs are my side of choice. I think deviled eggs are, quite the controversial. You either love them, have them, or you're like me, which is the texture and just has nothing.
Oh, I do like them. It's an odd thing because to me, the Thanksgiving dinner is maybe more formal, like really more where. To me, deviled eggs are more, you go with the hamburgers, the hot dogs, the 4th of July food.
Ooh, interesting take. And then my take earlier, most underrated but most important side at the Thanksgiving dinner table, gravy. Gravy can change everything. Your dressing or stuffing, however you want to label it, can be changed with good gravy. Your turkey can be dry, but good gravy fixes it.
It's the eraser.
The mashed potatoes, maybe not what you were hoping for, maybe a little too garlicky. Gravy fixes it. Rice, plain without gravy. You just smear a little of that gravy on a few biscuits, too. Sop it up. It's delicious. Gravy is that item that makes the Thanksgiving Day dinner, lunch, breakfast go.
I will say, when you mentioned rice, David educated me on the brown rice.
Oh, yeah?
He said, is the beef broth, beef consomme, and a lot of butter.
Lots of butter.
The fart analytics next.
No accidents to report. It's a good Tuesday morning, and looking for a high of 70, maybe a couple showers this morning before lunchtime. Be heading out. Tomorrow, 66 with some clouds, and Thursday for Thanksgiving, we're looking at maybe a couple thunderstorms popping up. Chance for some rain off and on. Middle part of the day looks like maybe not quite as high of chances, but the high overall will be 72. Before it gets a little bit cooler, come Friday, it's going to be 58 with an overnight low of 32. Right now, it's 60, a little bit overcast out there on 107.5 The Game.
Y'all get the program, and I appreciate it. Alex weighs in. If we were ranked 12-14 ahead of Ole Miss and Bama and just behind Clemson tonight, how is it not a bigger game for our program than Clemson? The college football playoff would be saying we're basically in with a win against Clemson. We've never made a significant postseason appearance while Clemson has already had a few. I think it's more important for our team. All right, let's do this. We're going to get our fart ratings in just a second, but Preston and I were doing this. It's a legit point.
Yes.
Because something we tried to tell y'all. Now, Preston's a little more aggressive with this than I am. But we tried to tell you, the new era of college athletics, you enjoy the season that you have, and you try not to think about the future. Now, I'm not doing that right now. And this is the reason why I say for Clemson it might be more important, because this isn't about this year. It's about the future. And it feels like to me, if South Carolina wins this game, that South Carolina is passing Clemson. That there's an adjustment here in this, that we're going more back to 2010 to 2013, 2009 to 2013. That's why I say it's more important. Now, I could be wrong on that. That could be played over Clemson airwaves for years of South Carolina lose. But it does feel like South Carolina is as close to Clemson as they have been in a long time, and that a win here on Saturday afternoon turns this thing a little bit back towards South Carolina, where there was a time I wasn't sure if it was. Look, the numbers bear out. The history is what it is. It will not occur in my lifetime that I ever see South Carolina have a winning record over Clemson. I will never see that. I have had to come to grips with that. But the reason we say that is because it does feel like this is the game that if South Carolina wins, it turns the tide in this rivalry a little bit, at least for 3 or 4 years with Lenora Sellers here and whatever with Shane Beamer, that turns it back to South Carolina.
And the Texas making a great point. But I think this game represents more of an opportunity for this program, for South Carolina's program, to take a next step, whereas for Clemson, it represents a liability for them. Like, if they lose this game, it's going to be more damaging to them as a program / fan base than it will be to us if we happen to lose. Because I think if we lost this game, which is a possibility because you're playing, nobody's going to be feeling like, oh, man, what a disappointing season.
Right.
Like, we're going to feel like, man, we missed some opportunities. But overall, I think we'll all still feel pretty solid about the season that we had. And a Clemson fan could hear that and say, yeah, because they all have low standards. Well, cool, we hear you. But if you all lose to us, that thing, I keep emphasizing the word fragile. Dabo's fragile. He's been what you think the rant is going to sound like when they lose to us? And he has to come and defend his program against all of the people that are coming after him. I just think there's the risk reward, or the risk or the opportunity for benefit is risk for them is bigger than it is for us in this particular game.
I mean, I understand what people are saying about the college football playoff. Now, real quick, about the college football playoff and the rankings. I don't have you got a pen real quick here. All right, so if you just break this down, this is what I've been trying to do the last 48 hours here. You're going to have your 4 conference champions. All right, we know we got 12 spots. So if you just do it this way, you got your 4 conference champions. All right, I'm just going to throw hypotheticals out there, so ignore me for a second with the teams, but understand the spots. Let's say it's Oregon. Let's say it's Texas. Let's say it's I don't know who's going to win the Big 12, but here's what I do know about the Big 12. It's a one-bid league is where I'm about to go with this. So let's just, for the hypothetical, say it's Arizona State that gets in over Iowa State. So you got Oregon, Texas, Arizona State, and let's just, again, hypothetically say it ends up being SMU. All right, SMU is in. Behind them, this is where you start to break it down. All right, we expect Notre Dame to be in. We expect Ohio State to be in, no problem. We expect Penn State to be in, no problem. There's 7 spots that have now been taken. Oh, by the way, one more conference champion, Boise State, is in. See where I'm at here? Now we're at 8. We're going to assume, again, play the game with me. We're going to assume that Georgia playing in the play. I'm just, again, we're going off hypotheticals, but here's where I get to this. That's 9. Now we go to Tennessee. I assume Tennessee is in. I assume they get past Vanderbilt. So now we have laid out 10 teams for you. 10 teams. Here's what I honestly think you're watching tonight. South Carolina. Where do they put Indiana? And then you go, is a 3-loss SEC team better than a 2-loss ACC team? That's, to me, where we're at. Those 3 teams.
So South Carolina,
and I guess you could, and quite honestly, you need to throw Ole Miss in there as well, who, because of head-to-head. So now you're going a 2-loss ACC. There's your 4 teams that I think are playing for those last 2 spots.
And when you say that, it's South Carolina, Indiana, Ole Miss, and Clemson, as a South Carolina fan, we are thrilled to be in this conversation.
Well, Clemson or Miami, whoever, go with one. That's why I say a 2-loss. Now
we are thrilled to be in this conversation. They are not. They feel entitled to be, because the history dictates it. I'm not saying that. They've been great for a long time, but that was then, and now is now. And I don't know if they appreciate where they are in the current college football landscape.
But again, to go to that point, you see where I'm looking at tonight with these teams. The Big 12 has now removed themselves from the conversation of a 2-loss Big 12 team getting, or whatever, the second team getting in. They're not getting in. All right, I would be shocked. I guess never say never, but I would be shocked. What do you do with Indiana tonight? Indiana plays Purdue this weekend, and then doesn't play a card.
Indiana's terrible, by the way.
Purdue is a 10-1 and 1-10 is what you've got. Indiana's going to win. So if Indiana is within the top 11 tonight, put them in the college football playoff. They're a lock. They would go to my second tier. And at that point, you've got then the 2 spots you're playing for. You would have the 5 conference champions. Let me just include Boise State in that. Ohio State, Penn State. I'm calling Georgia, and I'm calling Tennessee. And if you see Indiana at 11 tonight, there's your that's pretty much, I think, set in stone. Now you're going South Carolina, Mississippi, and essentially a 2-loss ACC conference championship game loser. Those 3 teams, in my opinion, are the 3 that you're talking about for the college football playoff.
Well, this goes back to whether this is an actual tournament or is this an invitational? Because if it's an invitational, then they're going to try and create the best games. If it's a tournament, they might give the most deserving team. I don't know. I'm not sure what their criteria is for how they're going to pick these teams, because it is a pick 'em, and they're not determined by any types of things that are happening. So I think we'll learn a lot about where the committee sees everybody tonight, as you stated, and we'll get some more information.
Just again, a few things tonight that I look for. How much does head-to-head come to get? How much does it mean? Alabama did beat South Carolina, but would you still expect that on a neutral field now as opposed to mid-October? The committee will tell us what they think tonight. Alabama was at 7, but 24-3. How much does that drop them? How badly does that hurt them? Mississippi was at 9. Mississippi's got a pretty substantial victory over South Carolina, 27-3. A little bit different than 25-23. Mm-hmm. But where do you put them tonight? 14, 15, 16 all lost. Clemson was at 17, South Carolina was at 18. I'm under the assumption that they would at least jump those three, and that Clemson would be no worse than 14, South Carolina no worse than 15. So we'll finish that thought up, and again, our fart rankings, we'll get to those. You're listening to the early game.
Preston here for our good folks at QC Kinetics. So if you wake up with joint pain, or if they told you it's time for knee or hip replacement, well, call QC Kinetics. QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in regenerative cellular treatments for joint pain. This is an all-natural approach that harnesses your body's own healing properties to treat the root cause of your arthritic pain. You can have real, lasting relief from chronic joint pain without drugs, surgery, or downtime. So discover your options with advanced regenerative medicine at QC Kinetics. The consultation is free, and you can use HSA and FSA dollars. So call 803-281-6860. That's 803-281-6860. Again, QC Kinetics at 803-281-6860.
It has been fantastic out there on the highways this morning. No major accidents to report. 70, that's going to be our high today. Still could see maybe a shower this morning, just in a couple spots. Tomorrow, 66 for the high, overnight low 55. Then on Thursday, being Thanksgiving, a little bit of rain activity. Could see a couple thunderstorms, a high of 72. And that'll be the warmest day because then we drop into the upper 50s on Friday and low to mid 50s for the weekend with those overnight lows in the 30s. Right now, we're looking at 60 and 107.5 the game.
.36 as we roll along here on your Tuesday morning. Again, asking for your most overrated and most underrated sides. Anonymous texter. This came in. This is not me saying this. This is an anonymous texter. I know who it is, but it's anonymous. But he wants to point out most underrated side, family and everybody, alcohol. Underrated side. I did not. Jen instantly perks up, instantly looks my way, as if I came from someone else.
Oh, that's not a side for you. That's just like breathing. So that really isn't a side.
Anonymous.
Yeah, anonymous. Bill used his burner phone to put that one in.
It didn't come on the text line. It came to my personal phone.
Oh, okay.
I also agree with that. I do agree with the texter. Preferably Woodford. Lauren the other night made some delicious smoked cranberry cinnamon stick Woodford drinks.
Sounds interesting.
We're fancy.
Well, I will say one side that I've not heard, and maybe it's not a big deal down here, noodles.
Just noodles?
You just do. They're a specific brand for us, like, because we just like the way they are. You know, they're just egg yolk noodles or egg noodles. And yeah, then just broth and some bouillon, and they're just by themselves. But my mom always made them, and everybody knows grandma's noodles. I don't know. So that's a big thing. But then again, you can put the turkey in that if you really wanted to get the turkey more flavor. Put a little of the dressing in there. I don't know, but noodles are a good thing.
It's not tetrazzini, is it? It's like a.
It's almost like a soup. Yeah. Really.
Yeah. I can see that after the stock for sure. Using the stock and then I get that.
Okay.
I get to that.
Noodles.
I'm with it.
Well, gravy again would
make it better.
Gravy again. It's a reason I've said this morning. Gravy is really probably the star of the show. I'm going as far as calling it the leader, the quarterback of your Thanksgiving, because it can be put on again. Biscuits. It makes turkey better. It can make the turkey better. It can make the dressing or stuffing better. It can make. It covers everything.
Like Lenora Sellers when he does the Houdini act. You know, like the turkey was bad, but Old Gravy slips out of the grasp and pours herself over it and makes the meal.
All of a sudden, the meal is 9-3. There was some bad losses along the way. The turkey wasn't great. Ham was okay, but the gravy has come along and has made you 9-3. 803-404-6100. Last night down in Fort Myers, not so much.
No gravy.
Not so much.
South Carolina, dry turkey.
Yes.
Dry turkey. Yes. South Carolina was in a position here. They were playing well. Preston, I'm really having a hard time. We can talk about the defense. We can talk about the shooting. We can talk about the lack of rebounding. It doesn't feel right. And I don't know how to explain it. Watching them play seems forced. It doesn't seem cohesive. The the chemistry doesn't seem right at the moment. 75-66 last night. They were up 34-29 at halftime over the Musketeers. Xavier's ranked 22nd, by the way, so at least two of these three losses are to pretty well-ranked teams, 22nd and 16. Indiana was 16. They get outscored 46-32 at the half. Colin Murray-Boyles can't quite get going for the Gamecocks. Fouled out again last night, and you've got our patent-pending early game fart analytics to break down.
F-A-R-T. This is a continuation of the STP sound, and this is where we want to build this. We've already highest bidder for STP, which was the stupid rating for football. Now we're moving to fart.
Yep.
We're developing one from baseball also. But fart stands for F, free throws missed, A for assist, R for rebounds, and T for turnovers. I think this is useful because I did not watch the game, but as I immediately went through these metrics, I picked out where the issue was. So for free throws, both teams shot rather well. 80% for us, 71% for them. For assist, same thing. 10 for them, 8 for us. So the assist wasn't too high on either team, which is something you might want to look at. But the problem, rebounding. Out-rebounded by double digits by them yesterday. And here's Lamont talking about the issue with rebounding, specifically offensive rebounding.
Yeah, I mean, a couple times we got punked. To be quite honest, I think a couple times we just got punked. It's one guy standing there and another guy standing there, and it may not be either guy's advantage. Sometimes it might be your advantage. You're in front, typically, and just didn't make it happen. We got physically manhandled on at least two of them that I know. But my guess is that there were probably a couple more than that. And they're physical and play a physical brand of basketball, but, just didn't do it. We just didn't play. We didn't play well enough overall. They looked excited. We would have been excited had we won. They should be excited. We played hard. We competed hard. We have a good team. We have to really figure out what our identity is and continue to play to those things. But when we needed, we pulled out some really good shots when we needed to, some good shot opportunities. And so we did some good things.
So that was the rebounding. Couldn't say it more eloquently myself. Sometimes you get punked, and that's nothing you want as a coach. That's hard to coach if guys don't have the want to. And I feel like we're picking up on a sort of reoccurring theme here. Seems like this is some things that Lamont has been hitting on. The last thing is T for turnovers. Not bad. We had 12, they had 10. But the problem with those turnovers, as I'm looking at it, they scored 20 points off those turnovers. We scored 12. So they outscored us when they did get an opportunity to turn the ball over. They scored more points. And so, yes, it's silly, but I didn't watch the game, and I immediately could point to what the issues were. It was rebounding, and then the other issue was they doubled us up on second chance points, which he alluded to. I love when a coach just says, "Hey, got punked, man. I don't know what else to tell you."
Yeah, and while it's honesty from him, it feels like it's frustrating for him as well. Like I don't know. There's something that seems off. Somebody says, Bill, you're not saying it. It's like watching one of Frank Martin's teams. I don't think that's it. And it's not a knock on Frank Martin. It's not a knock on Lamont Paris. I just, having watched this team, watched them last week against Mercer. One other thing, Preston, and I just don't know. I don't know. It doesn't seem like they're having fun.
He alluded to that. He said it would have been fun if we won, but that's not how the game works.
Right.
You have fun and then you win. It's not, you don't have fun at the end. You have fun on the way to winning. And he definitely just said that. They looked like they were having fun. And it goes to your point. It looks like our team is trying to find their identity, struggling, doesn't know exactly what they're doing. He laid all of that out.
803-404-6100. We'll come back and we will wrap up the show, but I'll leave you with this from Jim. He says, Bill, if you're putting Thanksgiving gravy on biscuits, you're definitely using the wrong gravy. Giblet gravy only belongs on turkey and dressing, not on biscuits. That would be white gravy. Now, I understand where he's going.
This is the nuance
but
I like.
It's kind of like where you got your biscuit in there, there's a little gravy left. You just kind of kind of roll it. I'm not saying pour it on your like biscuits and gravy. I
mean, because there's a whole nother conversation about Thanksgiving breads because, are we doing rolls, biscuits, cornbread? Like, there's a lot.
We'll be back. Bill Gunner for Mid-State Roofing, where for nearly 30 years, Larry Leitner and the family have been the leader in the roofing and waterproofing industry. So if you have suffered something this past fall with your home or your business, Mid-State Roofing is there to make sure that they can help you with a maintenance contract. And they can do that 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. They can make sure they get you a maintenance contract. You just got to call. Again, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You'll speak with an on-call technician or a Mid-State Roofing employee. That phone number, 803-356-1919. Whether you're here in Columbia, Florence, Myrtle Beach, Charleston, Aiken, Augusta, Greenville, Spartanburg, you get the point. Anywhere here in the great state of South Carolina, Mid-State Roofing is ready to help you take care of your home or your business and get you a maintenance contract. Again, that phone number, 803-356-1919. Call Mid-State Roofing today. Tell them Bill Gunner sent you. Bill Gunner for AAA Heating and Air. Right now, AAA Heating and Air is on the hunt to find the oldest AC unit in our Midlands service area. Do you think it could be one of yours? If so, AAA Heating and Air has a contest for you. Go to myoldair.com and complete the online entry form. For every 100 entries, AAA Heating and Air will draw a winner at random. Again, just go to myoldair.com, complete the online entry form. And again, for every 100 entries, AAA Heating and Air will draw a winner at random. It's really that easy. Just again, go to myoldair.com. Contest is for a limited time only. Only residents in the AAA Heating and Air service area are eligible to enter, and you need to see their terms and rules on their website for a full list of contest rules. But again, go to myoldair.com. And of course, if you're in the market for a brand new heating and air unit, AAA Heating and Air right now has no interest and no payments until November of 2025. Call them today, 803-677-1500. Wrapping it up, reminder, Shane Beamer press conference right here, 107.5 The Game today, 1 o'clock. You can tune in and hear what Coach Beamer has to say today. That'll be right here, 107.5 The Game, 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach. And then later this afternoon from 3 to 6, the postgame show will be live from Cato's Power Equipment, 4012 Beltline Boulevard. You can stop by and register to win Carolina Clemson football tickets, Carolina Clemson men's basketball, and Carolina Clemson baseball tickets. The winner will be drawn right here on the early game coming up 7:30 a.m. on Friday morning. So that's today. Stop by Cato's Power Equipment, 4012 Beltline Boulevard, 3 to 6, and hang out with the postgame show and register to win a whole bunch of tickets. And then right after them tonight, 6 o'clock, we have Carolina Calls with Shane Beamer, the Thanksgiving week edition. Carolina Calls with Shane Beamer. I'll get to the phone lines in just a minute, but we might have a discussion topic for tomorrow here. Texter weighs in, no, white gravy is for breakfast. Brown gravy is for lunch and dinner. Biscuits get white gravy. Rolls get brown gravy.
This is the analytics I'm here for. I like this. I like this discussion.
And then Bill weighs in on the basketball team, not me, another Bill who texted in. He says, I am correct. He says, basketball team seems out of sync. I think a lot of that falls on the point guard position. We are really missing Talon Cooper, which is, again, something we kind of talked about going really through the summer. Let's get out to the phone lines. Drew wants to weigh in this morning. Drew, how you doing? What's on your mind this morning?
Good, man. How are y'all doing?
Good.
So I watched a majority of the game last night, men's basketball. And I mean, I feel like I get what they're trying to do offensively. They're trying to play through Nick Pringle. It's pretty clear. If you've watched any of their games, basically, their first couple of plays are always to try and go to inside to Nick to like establish him as a post presence, and it's really just not working, obviously, very well. And I agree with the texter. I feel like we're really missing Talon, probably a little bit more than I kind of thought we would. Like, I know Talon was very good and like just a floor general. I really wasn't expecting that. I did think, however, last night it worked out kind of a little bit, and it kind of showed kind of what the team could be when Nick had 3 fouls at the beginning of the game, and they played mostly through Colin. It seemed to, like, right at the beginning, especially during that 15-0 run or 16-0 run, they were able to, like, stretch the floor out a little bit more because they they put in another, guard that could shoot basically from the outside, so it was allowed Colin to kind of get to work a little bit more on the inside. He was pretty dominant through that little stretch, and we just really couldn't take advantage after that. It was like a 2 to 3 minute stretch where neither Xavier nor us were able to hit anything. We just went ice cold, and then that allowed Xavier to kind of get back into the game. And then when Jordan came in, I really hope he can develop more, because him coming in to play the 5 and being able to stretch the floor, we're missing that portion too with DJ being able to come out and have that 3-point threat. And immediately once Jordan came in last night, he hit a 3, and he had another attempt that looked really good. I thought it was going in, and it just hit the front of the rim. But hopefully Lamont will be able to kind of dissect and kind of figure out what's going on. I think we maybe need to move some starting pieces around a little bit. I know that most of those guys are seniors, but we need to figure something out offensively to maybe spread the floor out a little bit, because I just personally think going through Nick really isn't working, because they tried to do that right at the end of the game too, when we were down 6 and had maybe like 2 or 3 minutes left. They immediately spread the floor out, tried to post up Nick, and he made a move, and it just looked really awkward going to the basket. Instead of trying to go through Colin, or Jamari was playing pretty well sort of last night as well. It's just a weird choice in my opinion. And then right at the end of the game, Cam Scott had some opportunities, and they tried to play offense through him, which if he can play, I have a feeling Lamont is keeping out because of defensive issues. He played better yesterday, but I think once he gets solid in defense, Cam will probably move into the starting slot and have probably either Jacoby or Miles come off the bench just to give us a little bit of extra boost, kind of how they were playing last year off of the bench. But thanks for taking my call, guys. I appreciate it.
No problem. Take care. Yeah, a lot there, and we'll continue to dissect that Preston continues to work out the analytics.
Fart.
Yeah, we're working.
That was great analysis, but can't do better than fart.
Yep, that's right. We're patent pending on that one.
Patent pending.
There it was. Yep. Appreciate it. Been a lot of fun today.
Desserts.
Dessert. We may have to come back to some of these hot topic questions on rolls, bread, gravy. A lot to get to. But good news. One more day to do it.
Appreciate y'all.